Hello everyone, Cerebral Tackle here today. Hope y'all are doing great. Please take a quick sec to like, share, subscribe. We're going to be doing something a little different today. As you see, I have my storytelling hat on. So, we're going to tell a story. This story takes place around 2005, 2006 area, kind of. I was fishing a bass club. And, I was an officer of the bass club, kind of new, didn't really know the political landscape too well, try not to make too many waves, right? Well, I got a random draw for a tournament that was a real freaking doozy. On tournament draw, I was matched up with a younger angler that was very new to the club. The guy was a boater, but was really green and kind of rough around the edges. Needless to say, it ended up being the weirdest day of my tournament life. It all starts at takeoff that morning. I arrive there early, get my gear in his boat. I fished out of the back of one of these particular models before. I know where the storage is at, so I start putting my co-angler storage where the co-angler storage goes. I go to put my lunch pail in the co-angler storage that's directly behind the live well on the passenger side of the boat, and right as I get my cooler sat down in it nice and cozy, he says, no, wait, don't put it in there. Put it in the other side. Kind of puzzled by this, I'm, okay, he's the boater, his boat, his rules. I take it out, stick it in the other side. We take off, go across the lake, right across the lake to this particular cove to start the tournament. Then he tells me why he wanted me to switch sides for storage. I kid you not. What happens next really did happen. He proceeds to tell me why he didn't want my cooler in my side of the boat. He camped out at the ramp the night before. Some anglers do that while they're on the trail. There was a food truck there selling Mexican food. He had a bottle of tequila in the car. The two didn't mix. His stomach got upset. He goes running off to the bank to run into the water to relieve himself. Doesn't make it. So his crappy shorts, they were inside right where I sat my freaking cooler. You can't make that up. Okay, so I'm thinking, lunch is gone. If it's on the outside of the cooler, I'm not going to even touch what's inside. Burn the whole freaking thing. I'm talking outbreak style. Where's my helicopters, guys in hazmat uniforms and flamethrowers? I don't want to touch it again. It only gets crazier from there. We're not in the back of this cove for 15, 20 minutes. He says, you know what? Come up, run the front of the boat for me. I need to do something. Okay, I jump up the front of the boat, sit on the butt seat, start running the trolling motor. He goes to the back of the boat. Before I know it, he's stripped completely naked, jumps in the water, grabs a hold of the back of the boat, and tells me to just start trolling away. I ask, what on earth's going on? He says, my stomach's bothering me again. I have to feed the carp. Yeah, folks, he was taking a dump in the water and having me troll him away from his excrement. Oy vey. Finally, he climbs back in the boat, gets dressed again. I get back to my spot in the back of the boat, continue fishing, thinking, this is it, right? Oh my gosh. I wish that was it. We only just begun. What does this clown do next? There was a little rule in this particular organization at the time that there could be a little bit of drinking on the water, partake of a conservative amount of alcohol, like a half a beer or something. Right, wrong, or indifferent, that was the rules at the time. You better not be caught over the limit on the water, that's for sure. But they weren't ruling out a little tasty taste. What homie did next was not a tasty taste. He asked me to stand up a second. I stand up. There's the bench seating in this case was just a big bench seat that had seats attached to it that wasn't a full like flip up jointed seat where there was, a hinge. Instead, it was just a whole section that pulled out and flipped upside down. He took it off, grabbed a bottle of tequila and margarita mix out of his cooler, flipped the seat over, revealing a long flat board, and proceeded to make himself a full-fledged frickin' margarita. After he is done with his nice adult beverage, he pulls out something that I was naive to. I've never freaking seen it. I didn't know what the hell it was. Guys, you're talking to a prude here. I haven't done an illegal drug once in my entire life. I'm not judging anyone who has. I'm saying it's just not been for me. Homie pulls out this little silver box and what looks like a little silver reusable cigarette looking thing. A lot of you gonna know what the hell I'm talking about. Yeah, one of those. A little box that has one in it and the word hit. Yeah. So he pulls it out, stuffs it full, starts freaking toking. So now he's got a couple of margaritas in him. He's toking on a little of the, what do they call it? The devil's lettuce? Yeah. I'm sitting over next to him. And I'm waiting for Ashton Kutcher and the cast of Punk to come running out of the freaking woods because I can't believe what the hell it is I'm seeing. I mean, are you freaking kidding me? Now keep in mind, all of this is going on and we're supposed to be competing in a bass tournament. And he's over there preaching, man, we got to get to it. Time is money. Time is money. I'm pumped. No, dude, you're not pumped. You're high. At this point, I have a couple options. Call up the tournament director and demand that he take me back to the bank, which I'm not going to do because I've already saw that he has a handgun in the boat. I understand that, he's high, but I'm not going to push the boundaries. So, I could call, demand go back, get him yanked off the water. Or I could do what I did. Stay with him and just make sure he doesn't kill anybody else in the lake. So, I stay with him. Do I think he was in any real danger of hitting me that day? No. I mean, he drove reasonably well, okay? But I didn't know that was going to happen. And I wasn't going to just let him loose without a chaperone on the lake. Because apparently, this kid needed a freaking chaperone. One or two other weird things happened along the way that day. Like, for instance, we're going to head underneath a bridge, and he looks off to the left and says, do you see that fish over there? You see what jumped out of the water? That was weird. You see their backs, that school of fish? They look like dolphins. What? Folks, we're on a freshwater lake in the south. Not freaking dolphins. I was looking in that general direction when he said what he said. There wasn't a damn thing. That THC must have been some good stuff. Because homie was seeing some. So, later that day, we go to wrap up the tournament. I don't have a keeper. He doesn't have a keeper. I know why he doesn't have a keeper. Homie was too freaking high to set the hook. You know why I didn't have a keeper? I was crapping my own pants for different reasons. I was having to babysit a dude, drinking margaritas, token, during the middle of a bass tournament. Not exactly the frame of mind I wanted to be in going out that day. I couldn't concentrate on anything. I was too worried about making it back. So, we get back to the ramp and I've got a decision to make. When, where, how do I tell the tournament director? Like I said, we both zeroed. We weren't going to do well in the standings. We were going to be bottom of the rung. So, reporting that day didn't necessarily have the same weight as it would have had one of us, either of us, even caught fish and been in a situation where we could affect someone else's standings. Again, I emphasize, I was new to this group. I was new to tournament fishing. I wasn't even a couple years into my tournament career. So I didn't know what kind of waves I would be making, even though I knew the right thing to do was tell the proper authorities. So after a few days of thinking about it, I called the president of the organization, let him know. He, in turn, told the tournament director, and I think they both crapped their pants. At this point, it's going around. Hell, I would have too when I was president if someone would have brought that to me. So they talked to the gentleman. The gentleman confessed what happened. Didn't understand why it was such a big deal. Hence the maturity level, making those decisions to begin with. They took care of it. They took care of it. So it is what it is. Another tournament that I zeroed, I've had a few, right? But definitely the strangest freaking thing I've ever seen on the water. And I've seen some crap. But hey, it is what it is. Live and learn. The guy had to sit out a while, was allowed to come back kind of on a probationary period. And as far as I know, he didn't screw up again. He kind of hit the straight and narrow afterwards, so good for him. But I'm telling you, man, feeding the carp, crapping in the water, margaritas, devil's lettuce, seeing dolphins. To me, it was a practical joke that just wasn't a practical joke. For him, I guess it was a typical day on the water. But it is what it is. Just one of those strange stories. So, there's the story of how I thought I was getting punked on the water. Go figure, right? Well, hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't already, like, share, subscribe. I'll be bringing some more fun stories down the pipe. Until next time, you know it, guys. Get out there, keep it wet.